everybody. It's Mike from Here the Watchmen. We're here tonight. This is the premiere edition of Mike and Mark on Wednesday nights. We've decided that we're going to talk on Wednesday evenings and on Saturdays, as we always do. We do our best to be here every Wednesday and every Saturday for you. Mark, of course, from London. I am here somewhere in the mountains of Idaho. It's a big state. You'll never find me, just the way I want it to be. I want to give you guys a little update before Mark and I get into it. Here the Watchmen. We're going to be in Long Island, New York in 2 weeks. That is our intensive spiritual warfare conference. You can still get a physical ticket, but there's hardly any left, but go ahead and try. Go to the website, hearthewatchman.com. If you're in the local New York area and you want to attend, even if there was a lady that's flying from California that just made her mind up today that's trying to make it. But also you can avail yourself of the DVD set, pre-order it and save $30, or you can order the live stream on demand package. It's all right there on the website, hearthewatchman.com. Another thing you want to pay close attention to, the conference in October in California. It's going to be an amazing, amazing conference. It's also most likely the last conference of its kind that Hear the Watchman will do. In 2020, Jeannie and I have prayed, and we've decided to switch our model to go to more towns, do more conferences, and just in order to do that, we have to do them on a smaller basis. But we want to take it into the areas where people are that can't get to these ginormous conferences that are being put on. So look forward to that in 2020, and we'll talk about that then. Mark, thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, absolutely delighted to, my brother, to be here at the premiere of our Wednesday night show.
There you go.
Bless you.
And hey, folks, listen, I want to ask you, make sure to drop us a comment in the comment section of this video. You can tell us we hate you. We hope you tell us you love us, but let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear about. Tonight, we're going to just do a short thing about what's going on here in the States, Mark, because I want to get over and talk about on your side of the pond, because we are starved here in the U.S. to get the truth about what's happening there. There's just no one talking about it here in the States that knows what they're talking about. But before we get there, interesting week so far here. One of my favorite things is that Trump has decided to take TSA workers and send them down to the border to stem the flow of illegals coming into the United States. God bless him. I can't think of anything better than some TSA geeks at the border asking to see ID. Can you open your laptop up? I can hardly wait. The best news is it means there'll be less of them here in the airport. So they'll do things like, just go through. So I'm real happy about that one. Also, we look at billionaire Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, who I don't agree with his politics. However, he came out and said publicly that there is not one single Democratic candidate that could possibly beat Trump, that they're all full of themselves, and that the United States didn't vote Trump in except for one reason, and that is because he's not a politician. Amen to that, Mark. Thanks for bringing that up to us. And it's just been Bernie Sanders. Our dear friend Bernie Sanders, running on the socialist ticket, is losing ground to Joe Biden, who Joe couldn't even keep up with his teleprompter the other night when he was in doing a town hall type thing.
Yes.
Go figure that, Mark. I mean, look, you got Bernie over here who, I don't know what he's doing anymore. But you also have, I think it's Kamala Harris, who says Bernie's going to be her running mate and will be her vice president when she gets elected into office. Kamala, I don't mean to burst your bubble. It is never going to happen. But so it's a wild week here. At the same time, we've got other countries blaming us for false flags over in the Persian Gulf and with what's going on in Iran. We've got Iran saying that they will attack Israel, if we escalate things in Iran, and then you've got like their high holy man, whatever they call himself, is saying, oh, absolutely, there will not be a war with the United States. So all of that in turmoil, we have no idea what's going on there. We will keep you posted. But more importantly than all of that right now is what's going on Mark's side of the pond. Mark, the European elections. What a bunch of doo-doo in a bag that is. What is going on? Why are you guys involved in that?
Well, the bottom line is the reason why we are involved in it, and as I explained in our show on Saturday, the fact that I'm just as aghast and appalled by this as everyone else. But the fact is that it's because, you know, the treasonous Theresa May, our Prime Minister, is been trying to push this deal through for Brexit, her Brexit deal. And of course, it's not a Brexit deal. It means that we become a vassal state. We basically, as Forstad admitted in a, you can't make this up, my brother, a BBC 4 documentary admitted that we've got them where we want them. Hallelujah, you know, or words to that effect, in a very terrible sort of Belgian accent, which I think I will stop now, in the fact that he said they now will be a colony. They will now be a colony. I mean, over here, every single person that voted out needs to watch that program. So what's going on? Basically, we are about to have the elections, which we shouldn't have had because we should have left on the 29th of March. You can clearly argue that technically we did leave the EU on the 29th of March. There's a court case going on in the High Court. You wouldn't believe that if you're watching the BBC or any other mainstream media. That's being pushed through by a gentleman called Tilbrook. So where are we at? We're now going to be in, you know, getting ready to take our little card to the voting booth, you know, with our ID, e.g. that card, we could be anyone, and going in. Now, at the moment, Mr. Farage, who started a few weeks ago a party called the Brexit Party, the polls are saying that he will get more percentage votes than the Labour Party and the Conservative Party put together. The Conservative Party will poll round about 11%. The Labour Party could go down to 21%. The Conservative Party, the Tories, are completely falling apart on this issue. And the Brexit Party, unbelievable what is going on. If you translated that to a UK election, Nigel Farage's party would win 49 seats in our parliament, which would mean that he would be bigger than the Lib Dems combined with Change UK combined with the Green Party. The reason why I'm saying this is that we are on the edge of an absolute revolution politically, that actually this is about to backfire. Because Mrs. May never expected us to be in the European elections. She's tried to push through this deal. She said, I am going to stay as Prime Minister until I push through the Brexit deal. It's not a Brexit deal. It is a total EU stitch-up run by, and sometimes you see him. If people haven't seen it, please go on the UK Parliament website, a TV thing, you know, on BBC, UK Parliament, watch it. And what you've got, so you've got two sides, you know, the opposition sit on one side and the government sit on the other. And there's a big chair in the middle. There's a big chair by the Speaker. Now, Paul Ryan was Speaker in Congress, you know, Paul Ryan, the supposed Republican whose wife is a total Democrat, where really he was a rhino, a Republican in name only, basically, and an anti-Trumper. Let's just say that. Our own Speaker, Burko, as he's called, has, and as a friend of mine said, calls him the Centurion, is there really in discussion totally and utterly to stitch us up, to not represent the democratic decision that was made by 17,410,752 people with a majority of over 1 million. Now, this is the key issue at the moment. So just to show that this is real, that, you know, this has come through my door from the Labour Party going, vote for us in the European elections. And it's got a load of stuff in here about, you know, we need more investment in local services. We need a better deal with Europe. You know, our economy is going to fall apart, invest in the economy and various other things. Then you have got the Lib Dems, right? This is their pamphlet. Showed you it on Saturday. The Lib Dems, you know, the only party at the moment that's got Mr. Vostat campaigning for them in various parts of West London. Let's leave it like that. So he's out there on the streets campaigning. And the Lib Dems have said that if we win, we will be sitting with Mr. Vostat's group in Europe. In other words, they're going to be working against the democratic decision of this nation, along with the Labour Party. I haven't got a Conservative Party pamphlet yet through my door. I wonder why. A friend of mine was in Conservative Party central office today. I'm not making this up, in London. And I don't make anything up. We're trying to deal with facts. We're not CNN, Cloud News Network. So the bottom line is this. He was told today by someone high up within the Conservative Party Association there that the Conservative members of Parliament have been told, you will lose your seat. I've had to tell you this, you're going to lose your seats. Well, we know that. There seems to be no campaign on behalf of the Conservative Party, even though a dear friend of mine, my dear friend Sue in the west part of the country, has actually had a Conservative Party pamphlet put in. And I was very proud of her because she just said, Brexit, you know, this doesn't represent me at all. Put it in an envelope and posted it back without a stamp. So it'll actually cost them. People are profoundly angry. And this European election is a second referendum without it being an official second referendum, Mike. I cannot explain that or sort of emphasize that enough. And at the same time, we've got the BBC going, well, Mr. Farage, so what do you think about the NHS? And if you did win, does it mean that you are now going to push for, you know, maybe the UK being able to have guns and all this kind of thing, you know, lessening the rules on guns? I mean, he was asked this on Andrew Marr on the BBC, and Nigel just turned around and said, well, hold on a minute. You know, these are irrelevant. We're talking about the European elections and the fact that you are not the establishment, and it includes the BBC in that for understandable reasons. Maybe it's because I mentioned the BBC that the dog barked at that particular moment. I don't blame it. But the key thing is this, and this is live, people. This is live. The key thing is this, is that the establishment are absolutely working overtime to not discuss the real issue. And the real issue is this, is that at the moment, democracy has been suspended in the UK. And of course, the EU have gone, well, you know, on the 31st of October, we've pushed the debate back till then. Now, here's the thing hot off the press. There is a tweet I have seen tonight that says that the departments within Whitehall are preparing for the fact that they reckon that Mrs. May will be gone in 10 days, right? That's a tweet that's come out tonight. I'll try and find it. So this is really, really interesting. Now, the parallels. I love talking about the parallels between what's going on over here and what's going on over there. That's why it's really, really important. It stuns me when I like to think that I am informed, that I seem to have I try and inform myself what's going on. And it stuns me every time that certain information comes out. On your side of the pond, you are fighting this deep state, a bunch of government employees, people that have been embedded to actually undermine your constitution and all the rest. We have civil servants over here, and a new name has come, a guy called Mark Sedwill. We've had people like Ollie Robbins who have been negotiating us leaving the EU on behalf of the EU. You know, Ollie Robbins, the man that decided to write some comments bestowing the delights of Stalin and Russia while he was at university. And he is a civil servant, you know, involved in this and involved in these negotiations. But Mark Sedwill Mark said, well, this is very interesting. He's head of the civil service and is a national security advisor. And he decided as a civil servant, he's not elected. He's not elected. He decided an arbitrary decision without consulting ministers, according to an article written by Mr. Littlejohn in the Daily Mail last Tuesday. He decided to stop the Brexit preparation of us exiting the EU without a deal. He is not a politician. He is a civil servant. One observation that he made when he was about Mrs. May, when she was Home Secretary, right? The fact that she was totally and utterly vacuous. There was nothing inside. She wouldn't make a decision. She would always refer to Mr. Sedwell. And the thing is, he has utter contempt for politicians. In many ways, he wishes he was the Prime Minister. And he has just decided to take it upon himself to be the person that is the go-between between us as a nation and the Chinese government over this issue. 5G, we're not tinfoil hat wearers. 5G is a major, 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 major health concern. I don't have time to go through it, and I'm not the experts like people like the wonderful Deborah Tavares, who is, and you need to look her up. She is awesome in the way that she talks about this, and she is in California, been warning for years, as in other friends of mine are. Now, the Gavin Williams, our Defence Secretary, stood down because Mrs. May accused Gavin of a leak in regard to the Huawei, or however you pronounce it, I forgot, I do apologise if I'm killing that, in regard to that electronic firm beginning with H, and our government are to ask the Chinese to help us have a combination in helping us to build a 5G network. Yes, I repeat that. We're asking the Chinese to help us build a 5G network. Well, the last time I looked, I know there is some kind of non-democracy and a freeing up in regard to their economy, but I think their theology is communism. And of course, the statue of Karl Marx that Mr. Juncker, the man who Mr. EU unveiled, was actually built in China. So summing up, Mike, where we are at, we are about to undertake an election that financially, I think is over £100 million that we can't afford. So on the 23rd of May, which is a Thursday week, we go into the voting booth to vote. On Sunday is when we hear the results of that vote. Now, we really need people's prayers. I'm praying that all those boxes with all those votes will go into a secure vault, will not be mucked around with, etc., and that they will be hand counted. Yes, we need them to be hand counted, and we don't need any fiddling or any gerrymandering going on at all. So it's going to be fascinating, because one of the key things that Nigel Farage has actually asked is that if he wins by a complete and utter landslide, and I believe it's going to happen, that he then will be part of the negotiating team, and that a no-deal Brexit will be back on the table. The last thing, Theresa May, what she wants to do, as I say, is not negotiate a Brexit deal. It's actually negotiate her deal, which is basically the EU writing that deal and getting us to stay in. We've had Tony Blair, our previous Prime Minister, going around having meetings with Macron, telling him how he could delay, how he could stop the UK leaving. Now, he has been doing, to me, the equivalent of what John Kerry has been doing on your side of the pond. Here are the parallels again. And that man, John Kerry, needs to be actually pulled up under the Logan Act and done and actually prosecuted for the fact that John Kerry is going around saying, talk to me to Iran, which refers back to what you were talking about in the beginning, instead of talking to President Trump. And we have got our Prime Minister, our ex-Prime Minister, Tony Blair, doing as far as I'm concerned, a treasonous act of speaking against 17,410,752 people who voted out with a majority of over 1 million. That was the democratic decision that was taken. And at this rate, he will be in the Tower of London too, with the other 410 MPs that voted, members of parliament, not military police, that voted to take the no deal off the table. This is where we're at. We are in the biggest constitutional crisis since Oliver Cromwell, as far as I'm concerned. And this is the picture, Mike, that I'm hoping that I have given very clearly to exactly what is going on. We have an opportunity on the 23rd of May. On the 23rd of May, Mrs. May, it could be a very, very bad month for you, love. Let's hope so. Let's pray so. The biggest spiritual battle of our lifetime is unfolding, because I think what will happen in time is that more and more of the European leaders will get fed up and sick and tired of us. And one thing that I'm asking my dear brothers and sisters across the pond to pray for is that her deal never goes through, that the no deal Brexit comes back on the table and we get out, because I would never believe in my lifetime that I would see a prime minister, a supposed, all these MPs, a minimum of 410, 70% of the MPs in Parliament working against a democratic decision. There are the parallels. On both sides of the pond, the people are fighting back against the establishment, my brother.
Well, it's going to be an epic Thursday vote, and we'll all be praying for you. And, we could send you some TSA agents to help with the ballots and, watch out for things for you. Maybe we could see if Trump will do that. But, no, seriously, folks, we do need to pray. We need to be ready. We need to be watching. It's a very important vote that will come down. So we need to be there for our friends on that side of the pond. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's episode, the first episode of the Wednesday Nights with Mike and Mark. We hope you enjoyed it. Please comment. Let us know what you think. And we'll be back Saturday with another edition of Mike and Mark on the Watchmen's Report. God bless each and every one of you. We'll talk to you then.